Still staying in Ondo State, the National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Debo Ologunagba, disclosed in a statement issued in Abuja on Sunday that the incumbent governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, won the election fraudulently. However, the ruling All Progressives Congress said the opposition party has a reputation for ripping into the APC and INEC when it loses. Aiyedatiwa was declared the winner by the electoral umpire after winning the 18 local government areas in the state.
Now, the former deputy governor emerged winner of the contest after polling 366,781 votes to defeat Agbola Ajayi of the People's Democratic Party, who raked in 117,845 votes. President Bola Tinubu, in his congratulatory message to Aiyedatiwa, said that aggrieved parties should seek redress in court and not take laws into their hands. And this morning we're joined by our correspondent, Amadin Uyi, who's in Ondo State this morning. Good morning, Amadin. Thanks, of course. I know you had a very tough weekend, but I believe it's finally over now. So tell us, about reactions to Governor Aiyedatiwa's victory in Ondo State, and what's the state like this morning?
Yesterday we went out on the street, Salge, we went out on the street to get the reaction of people. Definitely, we'll be speaking to two people from the opposing camps. Some we spoke to were in support of the governor. They said that they are happy for his victory, that they had voted for him. There were some others who were not happy, but they were resolved to just accept the election result declared by INEC and urge the governor to go ahead to improve the lives of the people. One particular woman who we spoke to in the market, she said that it was not an election, that it was a victory that was bought, but since nothing can be done, she urged the governor to focus on youths and focus on bringing the cost of goods and services down so as to reduce the hardship on residents of the state. Sage?
All right. There also have been, allegations of vote buying. If you go on social media as well, the number of people who were in Ondo states that have shared that, they sold their votes. There have been interviews, even another station had showed an interview where a woman admitted to have bought or sold her vote. Now, if the PDP claims that the APC fraudulently bought their votes, is this mindset that is, shared? Is it a mindset that is represented across board in Ondo State? Do you get the sense that there are a lot of people that feel that way or not?
Olive, you must understand that the harsh reality is that vote buying has come to stay in our elections. Because every day we go out, carry our cameras, we are looking for people who are involved in vote buying. The EFCC and anti-graft agencies, they deploy their personnel on ground to be able to curb the incidents. But this still happens. And the truth about the matter is that it's not just one party that is involved. Almost all the major parties are usually involved in the act. And then when a winner emerges, you see one person crying that there was widespread vote trading during the polls. But when you investigate further, you find out that in certain areas where they hold sway, they also involved in the practice. As it is now, we should be bothered because it is clear that our intelligence agencies, our security agencies, our anti-graft agencies are unable to stop this trend. Yes, there will be accusations, but I bet you when we go on to the next off-cycle election, these same allegations will still crop up, will still be raised. People were involved in vote trading, vote buying, vote selling. That is why I said it's a harsh reality, and it seems that our agencies responsible to stop it are powerless to stop it.
Yeah, aside vote buying, because I followed the elections on Saturday, and there was also reports of violence, even if very minimal. But are there other issues that the electoral process also suffered on Saturday, besides vote buying? Was the report of violence, was it widespread enough to be significant? And, were there other things that also occurred, that would put a dent on the credibility of the elections carried out by INEC?
Now, Saudi, I like the word you use, significant, because sometimes these incidences cannot be totally eradicated. That is why security personnel are deployed on ground to be able to curb it or nip it in the bud. Now, we have about 18 local government areas in the state. The question we'll ask, out of 18 local government areas, how many local government areas did we hear of violence? We only heard of the incidents in Idonre. And when you talk about incidents in an area, how many polling units, how many areas was that? Sometimes you find that it's just like 1 or 2 out of over 5,000. And then so when you talk of, you want to say the election was characterized by violence, you have to ask yourself, how many areas were affected, and also was it significant enough to take a toll on the election? I don't think so, because if you are talking about 18 local government areas, and out of 18 local government areas you have not more than 1 or 2 out of 18, and even in the 1 or 2 you cannot mention more than 3 or 4 just polling units where you have over 10,000 polling units, then you know that it was not significant enough to mar the election or affect the outcome of the election. And the INEC guideline is clear. In a polling unit where violence occurs, the presiding officer or the polling unit officer reports to his presiding officer, who cancels voting in that area, so that it will not be that voters were intimidated or scared away, so that those who are perpetrating the violence will have their day. So for me, being on ground, covering how many local government areas, I was at the Ilaje area, covering, there was not one incidence of violence. In fact, you would be surprised that all of them, they came out to vote. At the voting queues, they were all happy with themselves, but they understood that they had a task, and that was to vote their candidates. So if I would give my assessment as somebody who was on ground, I would say that based on the incidences recorded, we can say the poll was not only affected, could not be influenced by violence, but the poll was largely peaceful.
Okay, I think another thing that I've seen, Yaga Africa have said that, there was a low voter turnout. In their actual words, they said they speak on low interest in Ondo election. From what you witnessed, would you say there was significant turnout at the polls?
Like I said, it depends on the area. We were the riverine communities. And remember that the 2 candidates come from the Ilaje area, mostly riverine, houses on water, schools on water, hospitals on water. And so because it was the first time that the Ilajes, they were getting a shot at the #1 seat of the state, they came out en masse. Maybe in other areas around the mainland where Yaga Africa observers visited, they observed that there was low voter turnout. But also sometimes when you are looking at low voter turnout, those who came out on the field are compared with the actual number of voters, the voters on the INEC register. The question people have been asking from time, is that register credible? Where you have about 2 million registered voters in a state, and consistently for how many years you do not have over 500,000 people voting in an election. I think that register should be interrogated, because when the register was created, some have come out to say that those figures were highly inflated. So if every year, every election cycle, you have not more than 500,000 people come out to vote, then we should interrogate that register. So Yaga Africa has come out to put their own submission. They had observers on the field. My work is not to criticize what they have put on, but as a journalist who is always on the field, I would ask that register should be interrogated, so we know the actual number of eligible voters in states across the country. I think that will be able to help us come to a conclusion on whether elections are usually there's usually a large turnout during elections or a low turnout during polls.
All right, Amadin Uyi, thank you very much for bringing us updates and for holding the fort in Ondo State. It's been a long weekend. Well done to you and your team. Thank you.